Kongamano la ugatuzi limeingia siku ya pili katika kaunti ya Makueni, ambapo leo itakuwa ni zamu ya Jaji Martha Koome kuhutubia wanaohudhuria, siku moja baada ya Rais Uhuru Kenyatta kufungua rasmi kongamano hilo. Aidha, masuala ya ubunifu na biashara yatakuwa yakiangaziwa. Mwanahabari wetu Daniel Kariuki yungali Makueni na sasa anaungana nasi ili kutupa hali halisi. Iwapo unanipata Daniel Kariuki, je, mambo yapi ambayo yanaangaziwa leo?
Na asante sana. Kama ambavyo tumepata kuona hapo wanahabari wenzangu wakiangazia masuala kuhusiana na ukame na hali ilivyo nchini, na kongamano hili la ugatuzi tangu hapo jana, ama tangu kufunguliwa rasmi na Rais Uhuru Kenyatta ambaye alikuwa akizungumza kwa njia ya mitandao. Kongamano hili limekuwa likishughulikia masuala ya mabadiliko ya hali ya anga nchini, na ni kusema kuwa hata leo yanayoendelea kwa sasa ni kikao kujadili jinsi ambavyo hapa nchini ama serikali inaweza kusaidia kuepuka masuala haya ya mabadiliko ya hali ya anga. Na tukisalia na masuala hayo ya mabadiliko ya hali ya anga, kuna wale ambao wamefika hapa wakiwa basi ni watu kutoka maeneo tofauti na kutoka mashirika tofauti. Tuna shirika la walemavu, na ningependa tu kumhusisha mwenyekiti ama mkurugenzi mkuu wa shirika la walemavu hapa nchini, Hassan Harun. Asante sana kwa kuungana nasi hapa kwenye KTN News tuweze kuangazia masuala tofauti, bila shaka yakiwa ni ya mabadiliko ya hali ya anga ambayo yanashughulikiwa sasa, climate change, na vile masuala ya walemavu kwenye kongamano hili la ugatuzi. Labda kwanza kabisa unaweza kutuelezea, je, wewe kama ambaye anasimamia hali ya wale ambao ni walemavu, swala hili la mabadiliko ya hali ya anga, nyinyi kama shirika mmelichukulia namna gani?
Asante sana ndugu yangu. Kwa majina naitwa Harun Hassan, Executive Director National Council for Persons with Disability. National Council ni shirika la serikali that promote inclusion right of persons with disability in this country. Na leo tumekuja kwa hii kongamano ya devolution tukiangazia impact of climate change on people with disability. You know, climate change impact on people differently. Lakini jamii ya walemavu, they are more impacted than the general population for two things. One, climate change ikitendeka, drought inakuwa mingi, you know, resources inakuwa scarce. And then katika sehemu zingine za hii country, for example, if I can take that as example, conflict also erupts. Conflict juu ya malisho, for example, water and pasture. And many times when that conflict happens, media only portrays death, displacement and destruction. But a lot of people also become disabled along the line. And most of them are active population, beautiful population, people who are, you know, breadwinners in their family. And most of them, their qualifications are only their strength in herding their animals. But once they become disabled, what does it mean to this country, to the family, and to that lifestyle itself? But another most important thing again is those already with disabilities during the time of conflict over resources kama pasture and water kwa majamii ya wafugaji, they are disproportionately again affected because they can't run away. You know, when others take off, you know, they become burdened to already a burden, you know, kind of a lifestyle or the community. So they're disproportionate. And then very interesting thing is risk management or mitigation measures don't include deliberately what can we do wakati ya disaster, people with disability. Do we have specific mechanism during humanitarian practices and emergencies period how to tackle issues of disability during those times, you know, of emergencies? Because of, you know, issue of climate change, a lot of disasters always happen. Drought, you know, floods, you know, a number of things. Liver conflict is just one. Maybe in northern Kenya is conflict. Maybe in western Kenya is floods. Maybe in other areas, you know, it's a different kind of a thing, you know, that bring climate change. Right. But disabled people now in those different settings, their specific uniqueness are not addressed sometimes in the response mechanism. And disabled people, as you know, are the poorest of the poor in the community because of their impairment and because of their disability. Over the years, they had challenges for accessing education, getting employment, or accessing other opportunities that make them productive.
Right, and of course, this afternoon will be part of the panel that will be discussing how the climate change has affected the people with disability. So what are you going maybe to be presenting during the discussion as a panel?
One of the most important things thank you. One of the most important things that we'll be presenting a raft of issues to this conference, but the most important thing is climate change, devolution, and the position of people with disability iko wapi. Some counties have passed laws to come up with a climate change strategies how to combat, like climate fund or things like that. Out of 33 yesterday, we are told only 6 have allocated the fund. That fund itself, people with disabilities are as a critical component, as a result of climate change, who are impacted most. Are they included? What are their role? Are they being involved? Sometimes if you're not involved in where people make a decision, others make a decision for you. And the decision they make for you cannot be the right one. Because as they say in Kizungu, the shoe wearer knows where it pinches harder. So we are trying to say is being, frontline, county government, the leadership of the county government, to what extent are they involving the vulnerable groups, women, youth, and particularly persons with disability in climate mitigation measures.
And do you feel like the government has been helping sort out these issues? You are as a representative of the people with disability.
Of course, government have done a number of issues. For example, at National Council, we support, economic empowerment, LPO financing, to make them, to cope with new emerging issues. So if, for example, you are in an agricultural area and you are farming, you have been a farmer and things are going south for you, we give small grants to help. But it's not enough.
Right.
And there's a lot need to be done. And we want to project in this conference that disability is a cross-cutting agenda. It's not only a national government function, it's also a function of county government. And it is everybody's issue. How can we then bridge the gap? And how can we bring even the little resource that we have so that we can work together and make a significant contribution to improve the living standard of persons with disability in the country. So as a government, of course, the mandate of National Council is to register people with disability. Do we have the accurate data for purpose of planning? So that when emergencies comes up, floods, drought, do we have accurate data for purpose of planning, so that plans that are well suited and tailored for persons with disability are being taken care of? And are we involving them in other climate change conversations, and going forward, so that when we bring everybody on board, we're going to contribute much more. That's why we're here today.
Right, thank you. Thank you. Of course, we are going to be following up, and we are going to see some of the issues maybe that are going to come up during your discussion on matters to do with climate change and the people with disability. Thank you. Thank you very much. Anafahamika kama Harun Hassan ambaye ni mkurugenzi mkuu maswala ya walemavu nchini. Na tutakuwa hapa tukifuatilia yale ambayo yatakuwa yakijiri, tukitarajia kwamba Jaji Mkuu Martha Koome atakuwa akifika hapa wakati wote kuanzia sasa, na tutakuwa tukikuarifu yale ambayo atakuwa akiangazia kwenye kongamano hili la ugatuzi. Lakini kwa sasa nitakuwa nikirejesha studioni.
Asante sana Daniel Kariuki. Mtazamaji, tupate mapumziko mafupi mno.